Hello everybody, my name is Cecy and today I will be doing my October 2015 book haul. This month I have filled 2 whole shelves with the books that me and my fiance bought this month. So I'm really excited. I'll try to make it quick. First, I'm going to start with something that I am actually currently reading, and I bought it at Costco when I was running some errands, and I've been wanting this book, and so has my fiance. So basically, our collection is it's a combination of his books and my books. That's why we have so many, and that's why we always have so many in our hauls. So his books are my books. The first one is The Martian by Andy Weir. I can't say his name. And I'm currently reading it. I'm barely on page 88, but I really love it so far. It's so good. It's really funny and witty. It's about this man who gets stranded on Mars in a mission, and he's trying to survive until they come back for the next mission, which might be in a couple of years. So it's really, really, really interesting. So one of the ways that my fiance and I are able to buy so many books each month is because we love to go to thrift stores, Goodwills. We also do a lot of used bookstores, and our local library branch actually has a special, separate bookstore where people donate their books and then they sell them at half price or even cheaper sometimes. So up next, I'm going to show you some of the books that I was able to find in thrift stores and in the used library bookstore. First I have here is Sophie Kinsella's The Undomestic Goddess. I believe this is a standalone, and I actually have only read one of her books, which is Finding Audrey, and I really liked it. I got it from the library, Finding Audrey, and I decided that I liked her writing, and I thought it was hilarious, and it's easy to read and entertaining. So when I saw these at the used bookstore, I decided to get it. I think I got this one for like 75 cents, so it was a good deal. Now, I also got some other books by her. I got Remember Me, and I got Confessions of a Shopaholic, which is the first one in the Confessions of a Shopaholic series. I know there's a lot of these already out, but I decided to just get the first one. Next book I got, actually it's a couple of books, are these beauties right here. My fiance found them and he said that he's actually been interested in these. We decided to get them because it was a good find. It was at one of the thrift stores. I don't know when I'll be getting to read these, but down below if you would like to let me know if you really like them, what you did like about them. Next book that we got at the used bookstore, I was really excited when I saw it because I've heard so many great things about this series and the writing and the story and the fantasy. And it's one of those series that's very daunting. It's kind of big and the books are very big, but I found the second book of the series, and it's in pocketbook version, and it was like 75 cents, so I just had to get it, and it's The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. The Well of Ascension is the second book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, and I've heard so many great things, so my fiance and I actually really want to collect all the books. For now, I have the second one, so we'll see when I get to read this or when I check out the first book in the library or something so that I can give it a go. Next book that I'm going to show you, it's something that it's actually not for me. I bought it because it was, like I said, these are all the books that I've got used, and it's one of the books that my sister has been looking for since she has the first book to it. So she already has Graceling, so I got her Fire by Kristen Kishore. I don't know how to say her last name either. So I decided to get it for her, and I think she'll really be excited to have this in her collection. I don't know how much I got this for, but it was really a good price. It was not full price. It was probably like $3 or $2, so I had to get it for her, and I decided to include it in the book haul. The next one, I was so shocked that I was able to find it. I saw it and I was shrieking, literally being so loud. My fiance was like, "Shut up!" I couldn't believe it, but I found this for 75 cents. It's marked right there. The Tales of Beetle the Bard by J.K. Rowling. Now we have it. We can add it to our collection. Obviously, J.K. Rowling, you know, it's Harry Potter, so we love her dearly. And now my boyfriend can read it. My fiance can read it. So books I'm going to show you that we found at a thrift store were these two right here. They're so beautiful. I don't even know why somebody would donate these. They're almost like new, very good condition. It's The Warrior Heir by Cinda Williams Chima and The Dragon Heir by Cinda Williams Chima. The Warrior Heir is the first one in this series. I don't know if the series is called The Warrior Heir. I don't know what the series is called. But this is the first novel, and this is the third novel. So when my fiance and I saw these, actually I think I was the one that found them, and I recognized the name and the label. I recognized it because he already owns the Demon King, which is the first book in another series that she wrote. And we haven't read those yet either, but we thought, why not get these since they were so cheap at a used bookstore. So we're really excited about reading these also. The next one I found was The Summoning by Kelly Armstrong. Now, The Summoning is book 1 in Dark Powers, or Darkest Powers. So this is book 1. And I have never ever heard anything about this series anywhere. So I don't know if it's popular or not, but when I was at the bookstore, I looked it up on Goodreads, and it seemed like it had pretty good ratings. I decided why not get it, because I read the synopsis. Like, I only read the synopsis to books when I really don't know much about it or haven't heard much about it. It sounded really interesting to me, and it's fantasy, and I love fantasy, so I decided to get it, especially since it's the first book. So there it is. Fiance and I decided to get some classics also. 2 of these he chose, and I think one of them I found, and then he agreed to get it. The 2 that he chose was Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. So a really good classic. I've only read one other book by him, and it's The Pearl, and I really liked it. I don't know what got him inspired to get this, but it's a really small, short read. It seems like it's only like 102 pages. So, and it was really cheap, so why not? And then we also got The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I have already read this book. I read it in college, I think my sophomore year. I don't know why nobody ever made me read it in high school, but I really liked it, and my fiance hasn't read it, so it's also a really good one to have in our collection. And then the next classic we found, this one I found, and then I told my fiance that I really wanted it because I've never read this, and it sounds like something that I might be interested in, and it's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Stories by Robert Louis Stevenson. So those are other classics that we got at the thrift store. Okay, so the next one is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, a novel by Mark Haddon. I've seen this book everywhere in libraries and all over the place, and it's actually one of the banned books, so I've been curious about it because it looks very quirky and interesting, and I decided to get it. It sounds like a very unique kind of read, so yes. I don't know if anybody has read it on BookTube, but we were also able to find a couple of nonfiction books at the thrift store, and the ones we got were Graham Norton's The Life and Loves of a He-Devil, a memoir, and we also were able to find Tina Fey's Bossy Pants, so I'm really excited about this one. The next book I'm going to show you is Jennifer Donnelly's Revolution, author of Northern Flight. I haven't read any of her books. This one I also had, it was kind of an impulse buy because it sounded really different to me, really unique, kind of a story, something that I haven't really heard about, but apparently is the story of 2 different girls. One of the stories it follows is about a girl in modern day Brooklyn, while it also follows the story of Alexandrine Paradis 2 centuries ago. So I think it's just basically, I don't know if these 2 stories have anything in common or if they merge together at all, but it just seems like a really interesting story about 2 women in 2 different time periods. So I decided to get it. The next 2 books that I got because I already have a lot of books by this author in my collection, and I decided that I want to collect all her books as long as I find them in used bookstores and things like that. So the book I got is Belinda by Anne Rice and Prince Lestat by Anne Rice. This one I think is the latest book she has wrote for the Vampire Chronicles, which I have all the books for already. And Belinda, I think it's one of her standalone about a girl who falls in love with a man who is much older than her, so it sounded really kind of intriguing to me. The Giver by Lois Lowry, and my fiance hasn't read this book yet. I read it I think a year ago, and I really loved it. The next book we were really excited to find because we already have the first book in this duology. So when we found this, we decided automatically that we're gonna get it at the used thrift store, at the used bookstore, and that it is called Iona by Alison Goodman. We also haven't read the series yet. It's, you know, on our ever-growing TBR, so if you've read it, please let me know. I would like to know what you thought about it. It looks really epic and awesome. Now I'm going to show you some of the books that my fiance and I ordered online. So the first one is Angel Fall by Suzanne E. I've been wanting to read this for such a long time, and I think she was at Y'all West, and we went to Y'all West and we didn't have any of her books. We hadn't read any of her books, so our goal for the next year is to be reading this series by her since we've heard so many great things about it, and we decided to get it online. Next book we got is Skyke by James Frey and Niels Johnson Shelton, and this is actually the sequel to the first book and to the first book called The Calling in the Endgame series, and it looks beautiful. Next one is another author that we got to meet at Y'all West, and that is Mary Lou's The Young Elites. The Rose Society, I believe, just came out last month, or this month, I don't remember, and we really want to read this. It's on our TBR, like high up there, so we had to order this one from the internet. The next book is a book that I have already read, and it's a sequel, and it was a new release earlier this year. I think it was in August, and that is The Copper Gauntlet from the Magisterium series, the second book by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. And I love this book. I've already read it, and I will probably do a book review soon, so be on the lookout for that, and I'll let you know more about what I thought about this read. The next two books I'm going to show you are some that I haven't read either. This is like a very shameful video right now because a lot of these I haven't read the others in the series, and it's really horrible, but it's basically a book haul / TBR video, so don't judge me. And I've heard so much about this series, and that is the Throne of Glass series. I already have the first book in ebook, and I eventually will get it in hard copy, so I got the second book, Crown of Midnight, and I got this one because my fiance was able to get a coupon discount on the reading room, I believe, and it's Queen of Shadows. It's the fourth book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, so I'm really excited to read this series, and I know most of you probably have already read it and love it, so I'm really excited. Magnus Chase and The Gods of Asgard, The Sword of the Summer by Rick Riordan. This book is gorgeous. I'm just going to say that, and the fact that I haven't read it, I'm going to read it next after The Martian, and my fiance is actually currently reading it. It's the 10th anniversary of book edition of Twilight, aka Life and Death, aka Gender Swap Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. It's beautiful. It has Twilight on one side, it has Life and Death on the other side, and I love this whole idea because it really bends the whole notion of gender roles, and I love it. So I'll talk more about it in my book discussion, which I will try to film soon. Next book I have already shown you, but I'm going to show you again, and that is Black Widow. I already showed you this in my first video, my Avengers book tag. I haven't read it yet, and I want to read it really soon. I don't know when I'll get to it because there's so many other books on my TBR. This book was so good. I really liked it. This Rainbow Rowell wrote Fangirl, and in Fangirl there is the main character writes fan fiction about their fictional version of Harry Potter, and in the book she writes Carry On, and then Rainbow Rowell decided to write her version of Carry On, and I think this is beautiful. It's a great fantasy novel about this boy that goes to magic school, and he's a chosen one, and I will get more into it in my book talk since I already read it and I loved it. So another release that came out recently, and that is Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs, and I'm gonna include these together even though they weren't just released, but we purchased these online used. Hollow City and Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. So book 1, book 2, and book 3. I haven't read Library of Souls, so I'm looking forward to reading this really soon and also do a book discussion about it. And please don't spoil it. And yes. Next books are probably something that have already been spoiled since they're so big and they're so, you know, beautiful and tall. But, you know, Harry Potter. I had to get this, and it's like, it's really, I don't want to spoil myself with the image. I don't even want to flip through it. I want to have the full experience when I read it, so I'm not going to show you what's inside. Last book I'm going to show you is Greek Gods by Rick Riordan. Oh my gosh, this is giving me like a cramp just from holding it. It's so big, but I love that it's so big. I haven't read it yet. It's narrated stories about the Greek gods and Rick Riordan's world, narrated by our beloved Percy Jackson with his sarcasm and irony and all of that, and sassy comments, and oh my gosh, why is it so pretty? This is such a pretty color. Okay, so that was my October 2015 book haul, and keep in mind that my fiance and I combined our books together, and we basically share our books, so everything he buys I buy, and I include in my book haul, so that's just the way it is. This video kind of turned out to be a little bit of a book haul and a little bit of a books I need to read, books that are on my TBR, so please down below if you would let me know in the comments whether you liked some of these books, whether you have been wanting to read some of these books. My name is Cecy from A Passionate Reader, and please subscribe if you like my video, and see you later. Bye!